going to be reviewing Hazbin Hotel Season 2. So, Hazbin Hotel Season 2 apparently takes place a whole month after the events of Season 1, and, well, the V's are up to no good. Let's say that. As after the events of Season 1, they now know that an angel can be killed. And with that being said, they now want to take the hotel and the resources of hell together so they can make an uprising against heaven so that they can become gods. To stop this, Charlie has to prove that Sarah Pinches is in fact in heaven, and if she can prove that, then she proves that a sinner can be redeemed. And that is the whole story for season 2. So, let's see here. I like to tell my history overall. So, there's not really much to say when it comes to my history with season 2. All you need to know is that I have been waiting for Hazbin Hotel to become a series altogether. Season 1 has its flaws. We can all agree on that. With most of them, the examples being that there's too much red, there's too much cuss words, because Vivian seems to be obsessed with it. There are a lot of character plots that don't make sense, and when they do make sense, it acts as a bunch of other questions. There's a villain problem where Adam is in the plot a lot, but is somehow still the main villain of the season. And there's a lot of problems from here to there, but those are just the problems that I can list off of the top of my head. And despite these problems, I can always bury them, walk past them, walk over them, dodge them entirely, and enjoy season 1 altogether without a real problem. And because of that, I want another season. I've wanted season 2 since it was announced. And you can imagine how excited I got when I found out that season 3 and 4 is in development right now. Like, it's been in development and they haven't even finished season 2 yet. Imagine that. So, with all the leaks and information that we were given after episode 8 of season 1 of Hazbin Hotel came out, you can imagine how much I yearned for season 2. Then the teaser trailer for season 2 came out, the official trailer for season 2 came out, and information that 2 episodes would be releasing every week, meaning that we would have to wait 4 weeks for season 2 to be completed. And just like last time, I waited 4 weeks just so that I can binge the entirety of season 2. And as a result, season 2 begins with 2 episodes. One, the aftermath of season 1. That's how it begins. And then we go to episode 2, which is the aftermath of season 1, over to heaven. Where with episode 1, we basically see how the hotel's been going on for the past month after the events, and everyone is coming in just so that they can exterminate angels, even though the extermination day is basically canceled. And then we go to there's a lot of stuff that happens in episode 1, even though it's not that big of a deal. Episode 1 establishes a lot. Like, we are introduced to new characters. We're introduced to someone who actually stays in the hotel. Even though throughout the entirety of season 2, we do still have guests, but they come and go over the course of that season. And one in particular that stays that doesn't really have much of plot relevancy until the final 2 episodes of season 2 is Baxter, who was originally supposed to be in the main cast while writing Hazbin Hotel, but due to the cast being overbloated, there were a bunch of other characters who were cut, with Baxter being one of them. And you can imagine how excited I got when I found out that he was going to be in season 2. And with that being said, I when I saw him, I really loved what they were doing with this character. He wasn't in the plot a lot, but it was nice to see him finally join in the overall series. So then we go over to where with the V's, as episode 1 has 2 plot threads. One, to see what the has-beens are doing, and 2, to see what the V's are doing. And we basically know what the V's are up to, Vox in particular, as Vox, out of the 3 V's, is the main antagonist of season 2, and it shows, as his overall goal seems to be that he doesn't just want to use what happened after the events of episode 8 of season 1, he wants to use that event as the stepping stones of his rise to power over heaven and hell as he wants to become a god. And he was able to convince Velvet and Valentino to follow suit. And that's basically it. After the sinners actually find out that they aren't going to be fighting angels, and they're basically back at square one to get more visitors for the hotel, the episode ends with Emily coming in and basically telling Charlie that the hotel works as Sir Pentious is alive and he's in heaven. And we don't get to see what happens until episode 3, so let's go to episode 2 and see the aftermath from in heaven. So, yeah, Sir Pentious is taken as a prisoner and as a criminal, apparently, claiming that he was forced his way in. And the court scene didn't last that long, it wasn't the entire episode. We do find out more about Pentious in terms of storytelling and lore by his backstory, and it's revealed that he was an inventor in London of 1888. Yeah, say what you will from knowing that. And apparently he was somewhat of a hermit. He assumed he had friends just because he saw people passing by his window, and then he saw an innocent woman being killed. And after seeing his attire, it's revealed that he actually killed 5 others. And Sir Pentious saw who it was. He knew what it was, but he did and said nothing. And he got away, and he did nothing about it. And Sir Pentious believed that that's the reason why he ended up in hell, which goes back to episode 8 where he did something. He tried to save someone and got killed in the process, which earned his spot into heaven. And although Emily accepted him, well, Sarah was a bit conflicted, but she still accepted him, whereas Luke did not. She was so hung over by the death of Adam at the end of season 1 that she ended up imagining him in his head. And this is where I found out what season 2 was heading. Not only were the episodes going to be longer, give or take almost 30 minutes now, but we also are going to be getting 3 songs in every episode. There are some rare instances where we have just 2 songs each episode, which I believe was episode 1 and episode 3, but the rest of the episodes had 3 songs, and they are amazing. I love all the songs in season 2, and it's just, man, my favorite one was definitely once we get up there in episode 1 and episode 2, it is definitely Gravity. But that's just my personal opinion. Overall, things do not end very well for heaven. I mean, they're not in danger, but let's just say that Sarah made a decision after accepting Sir Pentious as an angel in heaven, a redeemed sinner in heaven, and lets him stay. Due to what happened after 7 years of killing people when they could have been saved as with redemption, well, she locks down heaven, shielding heaven off to hell. And then we go to episode 3 where we see the aftermath of episode 1, which was caused by episode 2. And, well, she gets an interview with the V's, and the whole episode is about her trying to prove that the hotel works, that Sir Pentious was actually sent to heaven through angel dust, through different acts of redemption, but none of them actually works. So she bases this off of how Sir Pentious went to heaven, which is by sacrificing himself so that he can save others. But it's soon revealed that that's not how it works. It's because the sinners have to act against their sin that sends them to hell. Because of this, Sir Pentious did nothing, and by doing something at the end of season 1, that was what led him to go to heaven. And the solution is that Angel Dust just has to act against his sin, what led him to be sent to hell. And it's revealed that he actually is a murderer. He killed his dad, and his name is Heroin. Henry? I forgot his name. It's a mix between the name Henry and Heroin. So I can't wait to see him. I wonder if we're going to see him in season 3. I hope we see Angel Dust's family in season 3, because it's revealed that in one episode in season 1, that Molly Angel Dust's twin sister is actually an angel in heaven. So I wonder if we're going to see her other than just being a background character in heaven. Hopefully. Anyway, going back to it, a lot really does happen in episode 3. But then we go to episode 4 where, well, Alistair is not doing too well after the events of the final episode, again, of Season 1, where after his fight with Adam, not only did he break his cane, he also has a scar, and it's revealed that, yeah, Alistair actually has his soul owned by someone else. Imagine owning souls, but you have your own soul owned. You're a master of, of another master. And it's Rosie. Yeah, she owns Alistair's soul, and after revealing that he quit, it's something that he can't really do on his own. It's revealed that, yes, Rosie did actually make a deal with Alistair. Alistair would become stronger thanks to Rosie, so long as he does something for her, but died in the process. And it's revealed that he actually was killed by being mistaken as a deer. And that's basically what happened. He got sent to hell and has soul owned and can't really do anything to get out of that ownership. And there's another plot where Charlie and Nifty goes to News to basically clear the air. And in terms of her plot, it did not go very well. There is a fight between Alistair and Vox where he fights the V's alongside Nifty and Husker, and the matchups were actually pretty great. Episode 4 felt like the end of a season, which makes sense because it was in the middle of the season, so it was more like a mid-season finale. Nonetheless, it was still a really good episode. Don't You Forget Reprise is actually my favorite song out of them. But if we weren't going to count Reprise, then yeah, Don't You Forget with Alistair and Rosie was actually my favorite song in that episode. And then we go to episode 5 and 6, where the whole rise up against hell against heaven was going to full swing as the V's kept getting more and more people to rally together. And my favorite song, Vox Populi and Vox Dei, I hope I'm saying it right, are my favorite songs. And in that episode, well, Charlie is trying to get a message to heaven to get Sarah and Emily down here so they can get proof that the hotel does actually work. And, well, as this happens, like I said, he is riling the troops together. He's riling all the sinners together. And Vaggie, who is trying to change her name, get a new name because she wants a name that she picks for herself, not by Adam, who is dead, she is trying to get Vox to back off by having Lucifer help him. But it's been actually revealed in the very same episode that Lucifer can't really do anything to the sinners. Hell is a punishment, and his punishment is being stuck down there with the rest of the sinners due to his act of trying to get free will. Due to his way of helping Earth being created because of his interference with. We basically know how he got down here, and as he does try to help, it kind of blew up in Lucifer's face with this next musical number, where he knows that there's nothing that Lucifer can do against Vox and the rest of the V's, and as a result, everyone is now following Vox, and as the angels and Charlie comes in to confront him and to apologize, well, it doesn't work. After the constant backlash, Sarah breaks and reveals that this is why the extermination happened. And now the war between heaven and hell is even more deeper as, well, Vox plans to do more than just taking over heaven. And because it is a war after all. Things go from bad to worse as now even more people are joining Vox, and the Hazbins are now and very likely divided. They're just not a unit anymore, especially after Alistair gets captured by the V's, so long as Vox does nothing to harm Charlie. And then we go to episode 6. Angel doesn't know where to be found, and Charlie and Vaggie is they're fighting, but they're trying to get it together, but their ways of helping both the hotel and each other is still blowing up in each other's face. And as a result, Husker quits and goes to a bar. No, not a bar. A casino. And Love in the Bottle, man, that was amazing. Every song in that episode was amazing. Love in the Bottle, Losing Streak, Easy. All three of those songs were straight bangers. But if I had to choose one, Losing Streak by my favorite character, Angel Dust, was actually really great. And even though the problem is solved, it doesn't help that one storyline or one character in particular did get the short end of the stick when it came to Vox's rise to power, and that was Angel Dust. Angel Dust was ambushed by Vox, and it's revealed that he is actually an unbeknownst spy for the V's, and got mind controlled and taken as a somewhat stepping stone, a failure for Charlie, as if she wasn't falling apart already. And then we go to the final two episodes for season 2, where Vox's plan to take over heaven actually does go into full swing. Angel Dust makes a message across hell that the hotel is a joke, it doesn't work, and Charlie's numbers against the V's are actually dwindling, as Alistair is nowhere to be seen because he's captured by Vox and the V's. Lucifer is missing, and not to mention that there are no more people in the hotel. It's just Baxter and a character we barely knew but saw in the background named Rooster, who does not join their effort of saving Hell from the V's. And the Vox, with the help of Carmilla Carmine, makes a weapon that can literally take on heaven, which results in them, after firing it, results in 2 of the pearly gates coming down to Hell and apparently making a lot of damage. Now, I never really thought about it, but I feel like heaven itself is its own planet, both its own planet and its own moon, because it's like super far away, but not really. You see what I mean? You get what I mean? But that's basically the whole episode. Everyone is preparing for war. The Hazbins are going in to save their friends. The angels are preparing to go down to Hell to take down the Hell Rising threat, and the V's are prepping to do the same. And episode 8 itself was just a full-on final battle, which was an amazing spectacle. I thought we were going to have another war episode, but no, it was just an individual fights where Valentino was fighting Husker and Cherry because they were trying to save Angel Dust. Baxter and Nifty was fighting Velvet in citing proof that the hotel does in fact worse, and the rest of the team were down on the ground. Rather, they were distracting Vox or taking down the weapon. And the overall episode was just wow, okay? Just as when Charlie was sinking lower, Alistair used his favor, so that Charlie could admit to Vox that he's the strongest sinner in hell. And just as when he puts his hands on her, he breaks his deal with, you guessed it, Alistair. And the fight between radio and video began. And I'm so glad that they made just multiple fights instead of one big battle. And this is when Vox actually loses control, as he not only gets his pet shark Shockwave, but he also uses the Heaven Cannon, I'm not sure what the weapon is called, to kill Alistair, which results in the death of many sinners that were hypnotized by Vox. But in the end of the day, the weapon was dismantling itself, but it was going to be a really big explosion. Vox straight up lost his mind. And we also learned back of his backstory as well. He was a TV anchor who was rising up to the top. And by rising, I mean he was killing anyone who got in his way, just so that he can be the biggest TV announcer in the world. But he died before his movement could go any further, as, you guessed it, a TV fell on his head, and he became the TV demon known as Vox. So, there you have it. Anyway, the weapon was overflowing and was going to explode, and shockingly, episode 8 doesn't have 3 musical numbers. It doesn't have 2 musical numbers. It only has 1, And it was in the final act of the whole episode. And Hear My Hope was an amazing song. I love Finale, but I think Hear My Hope beats it in terms of final song of the season. And man, it was just amazing. Although the Hasbins did win against the V's, as Vox is now just ahead and the V's retreat back to their tower, we don't really get a happy ending per se, as Alistair no longer is chained down by anyone and seems to have his eyes set on Lucifer. Angel Dust does not come back because he does not trust himself anymore and doesn't feel like he can be redeemed due to being mind controlled by Valentino for God knows how long in the series. And, well, I guess there are some happy endings. Penches can now somewhat see Cherry Bomb. He did see her once in the whole season, and now they just send each other notes and gift baskets now as personal gifts. And, well, Luke was kind of a wasted antagonist, but I do feel like she's going to be the villain for Season 3, I hope, because of the overall build-up that Season 2 presented. And Season 2 ended on a way that made me want Season 3 as soon as possible, and it ends with Charlie making a message towards her mom Lilith, and just as when she puts the phone down, the phone rings. And it's revealed that she is actually talking to her mom. Now, it's unclear what's going on behind the scenes when it comes to Lilith as a whole, because I don't really think she's the villain. There are some people speculating that it's actually Eve acting as Lilith, which I think makes sense because she's not wearing her horns anymore. But whatever the case is, I just want Season 3 now, because coming back after all that time, man, I wish it came back. But I feel like we're going to have to wait either a whole year or 2 years. And if it's 2 years, man, it's going to be very, very boring without this show. But all things considered, I think that Hazbin Hotel Season 2 is a major improvement with Season 1. And with everything that's been planted with the final episode, you guys already know how badly I want Season 3. But all things come to those who wait, and animation, like everyone has always said, takes a long time. So, for Vivian and her team, and Spindlehorse, and Amazon, wait for Season 3. But anyway, that's enough of that. Time for the ratings. I'm going to give the story a 10 out of 10. For no absolute reason other than I enjoyed Season 2. It's a major improvement with Season 1. And I'm going to give the whole season also a 10 out of 10.